Get really upset when we accuse survivors of abuse of being codependent. It completely misses the point of the dynamics of what happens in a power play in an abusive relationship. I saw signs of abusiveness on our first date. He was directive, kind of overbearing. He was trying to typecast me as a certain type of person in order to control my behavior. But I also saw a lot of positive signs. And this was the first person who had so much in common with me. I didn't realize he had been mirroring and mimicking me. But here's the problem when we call victims or survivors codependent and completely ignores the research of Sandra L. in 2014, which found that 2/3 of survivors had no history of trauma or bad childhoods. They did not score high on an ACE, and they had not had previous bad relationships. We underestimate by the idea that we walk into any relationship with full agency and full autonomy assumes that there's full disclosure on both parties, and we know there's not. Narcissists and other character disordered individuals do not disclose the whole picture. They're lying about a lot. It also assumes that there is equal investment and reciprocity. This person, by the moment they met you, has already introduced intermittent reinforcement. They've been using hot and cold behavior as a way to keep you engaged and off balance so that you're more invested in them than they are in you, and that gives them automatically more power and the upper hand. And here's the other thing. Every single person walks into a relationship a little bit hungry. You heard of the adage, don't walk into a grocery store hungry because you're going to walk out with more than you need. We all go into relationships a little bit hungry. Not a single person is self-actualized to the point that they aren't a little neurotic and aren't a little needy. That is impossible. So the idea that somehow that you can be so together that you come in and have it so that you can spot all the abuse tactics and you can resist them is unrealistic. I think it's ridiculous to say that survivors and victims are codependent without knowing who they are and knowing their history, just to say carte blanche because you somehow miss red flags as if there were no red flags in any relationship, and as if we can possibly go into any relationship totally grounded. It just lacks humility. We don't like to feel weak. We don't like to know we're vulnerable to predatory and manipulative people. But by nature, your ability to see your vulnerability and know it gives you the upper hand. It's not being vulnerable. It's being aware of our vulnerabilities that give us power. You're not codependent because you got into an abusive relationship. You're a human. You met somebody dangerous. You met somebody who didn't fully disclose what their intentions were. And that's what puts you at risk.